Hi, friends, and welcome to episode 19 of the In Between podcast with Paige Allen. I'm super excited this week to introduce you to my friend, Cara Price. Now, you guys better get ready. First of all, we talk about how much we love spring. Everyone else loving it too right now? And then we really dive into something that we are both passionate about. That is taking care of our bodies and our souls. Cara is a self-taught chef. She's got an amazing food blog that you're gonna love. And she talks about things like how do you get your kids to eat healthy and how do we even change our diets when we're all so busy. So I know you guys are gonna love this episode and I wanna encourage you, stick through to the very end because Cara is doing a super fun giveaway at the end. All right, here we go. Episode 19 of the In Between podcast. Hi, Cara. Welcome to the In Between podcast.
Hi, Paige. Thanks so much for having me. This is exciting.
I know. Well, I'm really excited to have you. We were actually just chatting a little bit before we started the official podcast, and I think it's really fun because people probably don't know this, but we really don't know each other very well. We met at a conference called She Speaks. Yeah. And then we have a mutual friend, and but we both are kind of on this journey of just trying to help people from the things that God has taught us, kind of a thing. So I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So before we get started, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your family, just a little bit about who you are.
Sure. Well, I live in the Dallas area of Texas and married to my husband. It'll be 23 years this year that we've been married. And so he's an amazing man. I don't know how he's put up with me all these years, but he does it well and gracefully. And then we have two kids. Our son Connor is 19 and he's away at college. And then our daughter is 16. And so she just started driving. And so I do have like a text list of people around here. I'm like, warning, she's on the road. So you're safe. You're far enough away. But yeah.
Okay, good.
So she's driving, and that's been just a little bit, you kind of revert to the fear. I remember the fear issue of when our son started driving.
Yeah.
Like,
so
oh my God.
There a difference between a boy and a girl driving, or were both equally like terrifying? Or not terrifying, it's like, oh.
Yeah, they're both equally terrifying in the sense that it's just your baby and they're out there on the road. And, you know, there's so many situations that they encounter that you can't really prepare them for. My son, he was really a better driver than my daughter is. And so I wasn't as worried about him, but with her, I actually followed her to school the first 2 weeks that she drove, and she was mortified, you know, but I'm like, I'll just keep driving past the driveway. No one will ever see me. And there were several things that she encountered that she would call me later and be like, Mom, did you see that? And it was stuff I couldn't have prepared her for. And so it was all fine, but yeah, I still watch the little app.
I like that idea about following. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was definitely being helicopter mom, but that's okay. It's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got two kids, and you are passionate about nutrition and healthy eating. And tell us a little bit about that. How did that get started?
Yeah, so in 2008, I got really, really sick. I literally woke up one morning and was fine the day before, and I woke up that day and just had this really bad pain in my abdomen. And it wasn't like anything I could describe that had ever happened before. And I honestly, it was close to Halloween and I thought I'd just eaten too much candy. And so I thought, well, this will go away. But it didn't. It just kept getting worse and worse for days and days and days. And it was about a 3-year journey of me I saw 3 different doctors. I had tons of testing done. Nobody could ever determine what the real cause of this pain was. And I had gotten on some medications, nothing helped. And I was in pain about 95% of the time. Wow. And it got so bad that my whole body hurt. Towards the end of that 3 years, my kids were little, and I remember at the end of the day just saying to them, don't touch mommy because my mommy's body hurts, you know. And it was a horrible feeling. It was gut-wrenching and guilt, but I couldn't figure out what in the world. And so a friend recommended that I go to this doctor that is close to where I live. That's a naturopath doctor. He's a medical doctor, but he practices in osteopathic medicine. And I went to see him, and he immediately recognized some symptoms in my body of candida and even thyroid just by symptoms. But then he did a food allergy panel on me and found out that I was highly allergic to milk and eggs. And one of the things I had been doing in those previous months, thinking that I needed to increase protein or something just to help my body to get better, was adding like boiled eggs to a salad and adding cottage cheese to a salad and those things. And it was just making me sicker. And so just within weeks of seeing him, I began to get healthy and well and feel better. And it was amazing. And so that led me to searching for recipes that, I could make that didn't include milk and eggs for me, even though eggs are healthy for people who can have them. Yeah. And so I just, with that and trying to remake recipes that I had been making for years into your way, and just all the research that I was doing and reading, it really just began to ignite this passion in me for being healthy and having a healthy body. Yeah. So that's how I got to where I'm at today.
Wow. That's so great. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but I'm going to get us started. We always do this thing called Into It and Over It. And so I want to ask you first, what are you into right now? Is there anything you're really into?
Okay. I wrestled with this one because I'm into a lot of things. I love new stuff. I love fun stuff. But the one I had to pick, my daughter, for her birthday, her friends all chipped in and got her a record player. Oh. And I'm so into her records because I've been redoing her room, and I was up there one day doing stuff, working for hours, and I turned on her records, and I just love that vintage kind of vibe that you get with the music and how it sounds so old, and it's so much fun just to listen to her records. So that's like the thing I'm into right now.
Yeah. So now, does she already have records, or is she going out and buying records, or are y'all finding them like at yard sales, or?
We haven't been to any yard sales. We need to go for sure, but her friends got her some, and then she wants to go, there's all these used record stores now where they sell used records for like $1. So we've got to do that. There's a town close by that has a huge one. We've got to get up there. But right now I've just been listening to her one of Adele, which is like great. Well, that music puts you in the mood. Like I'm dancing around her room, and it's just so much fun.
That is really fun. I have a good friend, and they swear by records, and I've just never had a record player. So you're the second person recently to kind of say it's just a different feel. They said the music just feels different. So that's cool. Okay. So my
kind of feel.
Yeah. My into is not really tangible. I was trying to think of a great, recommendation. I've read several good books lately, but my into is actually just the sunshine right now.
Oh yeah.
I am so ready for spring and for summer. And I kept my sister, she has 4 kids. I kept her 4 kids last week for about 4 days. I have 2, and her youngest is like 18 months old and a little boy. And so I was exhausted, and I just really wanted to rest and chill with him. But what I discovered is if I would just let him go outside, like he had a blast. And I was amazed at how all of a sudden, like literally after about 5 minutes of being outside, I felt so much better. Like there really is something, maybe it's the vitamin D, I don't know, but there's something about just being in the sunshine that you feel better. So
definitely. I agree with you for sure. Yeah, I know. I am ready for spring. I keep just looking at the weather, like, please just let it be. I need it to just be about 75, and sunny for like 4 months.
I know. I said the same thing yesterday. Me and my mom, we went for a walk, and it was about like that. She said, it would be so great if it would just stay like this. I think maybe that's what it's like in California year round, but we're both in Texas. So probably that's not, not in the cards for us this year.
No, but we've had a really mild winter. Have y'all?
Yeah, no, we have.
Yeah.
It's been really mild. So, okay. What about over it? Are you over anything right now?
This one was hard for me, but the thing I want to say that I'm over, even though it's really a work in progress for me, is just overbooking my calendar,
Mm.
trying to really leave margin in my days to breathe versus having those days every day that are like, if one domino falls, they all go down.
Yes.
It still happens because life is life, but I'm really over scheduling. So that's the thing I'm really trying to be good about, is just not over scheduling my life.
That's so good. Are you finding anything practical that's helping you to do that? Or is it just saying no more often, do you think?
I am saying no more often.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, and it's been hard. But I just reread Lisa TerKeurst's book, The Best Yes. I don't know if you've read that book. I read it when it came out, but I just reread it. And it reminded me that I don't have to give an excuse or a reason for things. You know, I can just say no. And so, yeah, but it's hard. It's hard as a woman. But my husband definitely keeps me grounded because he is the king of saying no. Like, no, just tell them no, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's good. We need people like that in our life. I actually was listening to Craig Rochelle's latest podcast this week, and it was all about decision making. So it's a little bit different, but one of his points, I just keep going back to it. He was talking about we have to avoid decision fatigue, that a lot of times things like that, like overscheduling or not, sometimes you just don't even have the emotional energy to say no if you feel like you're going to hurt someone's feelings or whatever. And so I still haven't quite figured out like how, like if this would be something I could really do. But he was talking about how decisions take so much emotional energy. And so he actually now has a scheduled time each week where he tries to make all major decisions. And so he keeps a to-do list and a to-decide list.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm still kind of thinking about that, but he said that it has like created margin in his life because he'll be working on a project and a decision will pop up, and that decision will take more time or more just emotional energy. And so sometimes that can derail his day. So he says that I think for him it's like Thursday mornings, and that's when he tackles all of his to decide. And then he said he's like fresh and he's ready to make good decisions. So kind of different, but it just made me think of that. I thought that's a really interesting dynamic. So and maybe that's a man thing too, because I think they're a little bit more compartmentalized and we're more fluid. I don't know that.
And that's what I was just sitting here thinking too, is that I do think men are better at that than we are. And a lot of times it stems from the fact that they go to a workplace and people respect that more than they respect maybe our workplaces in our home.
That's true.
Or with our kids. And I know too, like even just being the team mom or the class mom or whatever, you get a call the night before and you're like, okay, well now I have to rearrange my day tomorrow to do, whatever. So I agree that it is probably more difficult for women, but I think it's definitely a good thing to think about.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. Okay. So my over it. Yeah. My over it is not, you may, it's not meaningful whatsoever. In fact, you may look at me in a different light after this. People that have watched the podcast for very long, they will know, or if they've read my blog, I have had this deep love for years. And really it's more tied to the fact that this is something that me and my sister do, that we watch The Bachelor, religiously. But I'm over it. I'm absolutely over it this year. I don't feel strongly about the current Bachelor. And it has been a season of too much information, too much too much of everything. So I'm just over it. So
that's good though. That's good. I feel like that, when we are over stuff like that, it's because we're listening to the Spirit and it's time to move on to something else.
Time to move on. I'm moving on. So anyways, that's kind of funny. So but those are always fun to talk about. But I want to talk more about just a little bit about nutrition. And I love that you kind of shared your journey started literally from a health crisis and trying to figure out what was going on in your body. But how have you begun to really implement that in the life of your family? Because I know sometimes we feel a need to make a change for our life, but sometimes that's hard then to implement it for our whole family. So what does that look like for you guys?
Well, when I first started this journey, my kids were smaller. And so I really made their choices for them in regards to what they were going to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, whatever I cook for dinner, that's what there is. There was no option for anything else necessarily.
Yeah.
And I felt like the things I was making were a good, a good replacement for other meals. So, I would make things that were grain free versus the things that, before maybe had gluten. And it takes research, it takes time to figure that out. But I just feel like after I cooked that way for several months, they became used to it and no one really ever questioned it. I mean, I never had too much pushback from my family. I do know that people do have pushback, but I think you just have to, first of all, if your kids are little, obviously you're making their decisions. But in regards to maybe a spouse or, a parent or somebody else that lives with you that you cook for, they're adults and they have to make their own decisions. And my husband, I didn't really say much to him. I just started cooking differently. And I think after a while, he kind of just watched what was going on and he realized it was really a healthier, better way for him anyway. And he doesn't have an issue. Now, I mean, there are times that recipes are complete flops and my family will be like, this is disgusting and we're not eating this, and that's okay.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a healthy place to be of like, okay, this did not work. We're gonna try again. So what would you say to someone who I feel like I talk to a lot of women and they want to eat healthier. They know that's a priority, but a lot of times I think time is an issue. It's like, I don't know if I'll have time to cook like this, or just not even knowing where to start. What are practical thoughts for women that want to start, but they kind of just don't know how?
Well, I think you first have to really make a decision. You can get caught in the, I don't know how, and I'm too busy. And you can begin to just make excuses for why you're not eating healthy. Yeah. So you have to make a decision. I'm just as busy as everyone else. I've got a very full calendar. I'm right in the middle of varsity softball with my daughter. We've got 3 games a week, that kind of thing. And so we're involved in a lot of stuff. And so we're busy too. And it has taken me a while, I will say, to get to the point of where I can flow pretty well with my busy calendar and still eat healthy. But it also came down to the fact that I knew I had to feed my family something, and we couldn't afford to buy something out to eat every night. Yeah. Especially something that's healthy, because most of those places are going to cost a little more than, your drive-ins. Right. And that just wasn't an option for us with my health concerns. And I didn't want my family eating that. So you've got to make a decision and you've got to make a plan. And I really think making a list of the things that you will and won't eat just because you know that they make you feel bad, or that they're not going to help you get to your health goals. Being healthy and eating nutritiously, it's wrapped up in a lot of different areas. I mean, for me now, in the beginning, it was about health, about getting well. Now it's just about health and staying healthy. I want to live a really long time so that I can serve God. It's not about looking like a cover model for me. Yeah. I exercise and I eat well. And if those things come, that's just a bonus. I mean, I'm not going to look like a cover model, but, just staying thin and looking good and whatever. But for some women, it's a true issue of an eating disorder or weight or, an emotional eating issue. And so I think you really have to find what works for you specifically. And I encourage people to make a physical list, because there is a connection between our brains and our hands when we write, and our brain gets it. And you can then crumple your list up and throw it away. You don't need it. Once you know what you will and won't do, and you have to make a decision to stand on your own and not worry about, what people say and peer pressure of being at a party and eating a certain thing. Yeah. That's a great idea. I've never thought about that, about literally making a list. But I've seen that actually even work in my mother-in-law's life. She really figured out, okay, for whatever reason, these things, they make me feel bad after I eat them. Yeah. And so that's a great practical idea. Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen, even as you changed the way you were eating, did you find it affecting, I want to say the word soul is a big word, but just affecting other parts of your life? Yes, for sure. I mean, obviously I still have times when, I eat too many healthy treats, so to speak. and begin to feel sluggish. And for me, it's all one thing. Whenever I don't eat well and sleep well, then I don't exercise and move well and think well. And so I've got to make sure that my eating stays lined up, because I do begin to wane in my mental clarity and my spiritual clarity whenever I feel like I've got this burden of not eating well. So
yeah, no, I can see that for sure. What did God teach you any lessons in that journey towards health? Like, what would you say is the biggest lesson he taught you as you were getting well?
Yeah, the biggest lesson I think he taught me was that, he created good, nutritious food for us, and this to enjoy it. I mean, not to feel guilt about things, but not to fill my body with things that weren't created by him. And it's definitely been a journey. It's not like when I got well that I was at this point of living free in food. He also showed me that I definitely had some eating issues that I don't know that they would be classified as eating disorders, but I definitely would overindulge more often than I should.
Yeah.
And so he's shown me how not to do that. And it still can be a struggle when you find a healthy treat that, fits the ramifications of what you're eating and what you will and won't eat. Sometimes it's difficult to not eat too many of that item. You know what I mean? Like, cookies, I make healthy cookies, but still a dessert is a dessert, and it should only be enjoyed, on an occasional basis, not an everyday basis. And so I really feel like just he's showing me how to rest in him in my food, if that makes sense, because he really wants us to live abundantly from what he's given us to eat, and not to live. It's almost like when we're making poor decisions, we live in bondage of food. And when we're making decisions for our health, we live in freedom. Yeah.
That's so good. I don't know that we think about that as freedom and bondage with food, but you're so right. I think back when I was in college, I wouldn't say I had an eating disorder, but food controlled my mind. I was constantly thinking, okay, what am I going to eat next? On one extreme or the other. Either, okay, I really want to lose some weight, or I'm feeling emotional, and so I don't care. I'm just food controlled my life for about 3 years, just more subconsciously, just thinking about what I was going to eat and what I wasn't going to eat. And there was this time all of a sudden where I finally just said, okay, I'm going to surrender this to the Lord. I really need freedom in this. And really listening to the Holy Spirit, I kind of had this like epiphany, like, wow, the Holy Spirit can guide us and direct us in what we eat. Like God created our body. Of course he cares about that, and and it is so freeing. It really is.
Yeah, it really is freeing.
Yeah. My sister and I, we were talking the other day, we were actually talking about fasting and how if we're not careful, we can all of a sudden put our fasting doesn't even come about like seeking the Lord, and instead it's like, what am I going to get out of this fast? And I just see that happening, so often in our lives if we're not careful. But God created our bodies, and so He knows what they need. He knows the kind of fuel that we need to live a good, long, healthy life. Yeah. So that's so good. I want to tell everybody that Cara has an amazing website and blog called The Nourished Body and Soul. Is that right? Did I say it right?
That's right. Yeah.
So tell us, you've got recipes on there. You've got different thoughts on there. Tell us a little bit about what people can find when they go to your website.
Yeah. So I guess it's technically a food blog, which is funny because it's not what I really ever envisioned myself doing.
Yeah.
But that's probably what it is. But it also has, because I'm passionate about the grace of God and what he's done in my life in other areas besides just healing me and helping me with these food issues. So I do some writing, and I put some like little devotionals on there, usually 2 or 3 times a month. And so there's a tab that's called For Your Soul, or For the Soul, I think it says. And there's little devotions that are on there. And then there's recipes, everything from dinner to dessert, breakfast items. And I recently, I guess it's been a few months ago, started doing once a month, I'll put on a whole week's worth of nourishment. And so it comes with 5 recipes that you can make for dinner. It comes with prep ahead tips and a whole grocery list. And so you can get on there and look up the month, and you can just click on the week's worth of nourishment tab under recipes and look up the month, and you can just get the whole list right there. Go to the grocery store, get your stuff, and prep it ahead. So I love making food ahead, because on busy weeknights, it is difficult to eat healthy. And that way you can just heat up your portion that you need, and there's always leftovers.
I love it. That's such a great idea, because I will tell you, probably one of my biggest struggles is as I start working on something and you realize some ingredient that really is crucial, you don't have it,
Right.
It's like, oh, why did I not plan ahead better? And so, so something like that, man, I'm going to go check that out. I will be all over it. So, and today I'm excited about this. We're going to do a little giveaway. Kara's going to do a giveaway today. She's going to give away some of her favorite healthy snacks. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Okay. I really love food. And so that is an issue. I do love food. In fact, I just got those Clear Correct braces, and they say you have to wear them 22 hours a day. And I went to my dentist yesterday, and he's like, are you wearing your Clear Correct? And I'm like, no, I eat like 7 hours a day. I wear these things 22 hours a day. And so, I love food, and I love snacks. I love healthy snacks. I try not to eat a lot of packaged ingredients, because so many of them have bad things in them, and GMOs and genetically modified ingredients and just different things. But so I'm going to have a little box of snacks that are not GMO. They're healthy, organic snacks that I love to take, like on trips, or when you're going to a game, or, if you're going to be out all day and you're not going to be able to get a good meal.
Yes. Okay. Well, good. So this is what we're going to do. Everyone right now, you want to try these snacks, because I know sometimes I just don't even know what are good snacks. So this will be great for someone to open up and be like, oh my goodness, these taste great. I love them. Now I know what is good for my body. What we're going to have you do is right now, we want you to get out your phone, or when we finish the podcast, and you're going to text to the number 444-999. So 3 4s and then 3 9s, the word nourish in all caps. And you know what, Cara, I have to tell you, as I was writing this down in my notes, I was like, nourish. Like, it's one of those words, I wrote it, and then I thought, did I spell that right? So I have that it's Nourish. Did I spell nourish right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So text the word nourish in all caps to 444-999, and you're going to get like a text message back that is going to tell you to send your email. That's so we know who wins. And we just don't have, there's not all just these random numbers, but then your email is associated with that. So we'll draw a winner, and then we can send them an email and get their address to send it. Exactly. Yeah. So wonderful. Well, Cara, I really enjoyed talking to you today. And I just want to encourage everybody to go check out Cara's website. Get at least one recipe. Like, that's the challenge today. Like, at least make one of her recipes this week sometime. Do you have a favorite recipe on your blog, Cara?
I really am a fish girl. I love fish. And so the one that is the sea bass and cauliflower is my favorite. But there's one on there that's my husband's favorite, and it's a maple Dijon chicken with pancetta. It's really good. So,
okay.
But since it's, getting close to the weekend, maybe people want to get a little sweet. And so there's some cupcakes on there. And so,
Oh, those all sound good. Okay. Yeah. So that's my challenge, is go to her website. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can find out if she posts new things, and choose at least one recipe. Make it for us. Maybe on our Facebook page this week, you could even upload a picture. I'd love to see, like, what are you making? Send me something on the In Between Facebook page. And then don't forget, to text the word nourish to 444-999 and you might win a box. So thank you for coming and talking to me today.
Thank you so much, Paige. This has been so much fun, and it's so good to see you again.
I know. You too. It really is. So with that, I'm just going to say, everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Hey friends, I really hope you enjoyed our conversation with Cara. I want to encourage you to check out her website. It's thenourishedbodyandsoul.com. You can find links to her site, her Instagram, and all her social media feed at our website, theinbetween.com. Also, don't forget to text the word nourish to 444-999. I can't wait to see which one of you wins her bag full of goodies. All right, thanks so much for joining me this week, and be sure to come back next week as I have another great episode lined up of The In-Between with Paige Allen.